All right, here goes nothing. I've been thinking about this for a while, and I think I'm gonna start a video series. We're gonna call it Kit Crashing. And the idea is that I spend some time working creatively, trying to do some new things that maybe I haven't been doing or haven't done recently. But just in general, it's really a way for me to work more creatively and use some of the tools that I'm familiar with using or learning how to use, and some of the tools that I'm building. There's a couple of parameters that we're going to look at. One is that rather than working on a PC, which is what I normally work on, and we have plenty of videos showing how to work on a PC, etc., I'm going to work on a Mac because I'm excited about this new prospect of having LandKit and Rhino 8 and Grasshopper on a Mac. How cool is that? I also have a laptop that I'm loving, the MacBook Air M2, the M2 Air, whatever they call it. And then there's one other addition that you might see there in the background. It's the Vision Pro. I'm one of the early adopters here of the Vision Pro, and I picked it up yesterday, and I have to say it's amazing and mind-boggling and still so much to wrap my head around. I'm thinking of actually doing a whole video just on what I have experienced and what I think can be done with the Vision Pro, and I will certainly be exploring that within this series. I don't want it to be too heavy on that because I think that I have a lot to talk about in terms of what LandKit can do for landscape architecture as a set of tools, and also just what Grasshopper and Rhino can do. In general, I'm very excited about what you can do in a program like Rhino with the extra capability of Grasshopper. Rhino lets you do CAD-like operations, drafting, having blocks, laying out sheets, things like that are very common to an architecture or landscape architecture practice. Even civil engineering or planning can use Rhino and is using it quite a bit, which is great. But the addition of Grasshopper allows you, and by you I mean designers, people who maybe didn't study coding or scripting in school, who can use scripting in a kind of more accessible way. There's all these different plugins, there's all these tutorials and videos online, which are great, and that's all well and good, but one of the problems has been that you can't access some of that power unless you really know Grasshopper. And so some of those tools, especially if you're a landscape architect, because landscape architecture is weird. Landscape is full of strange forms. Topography is very strange. It's a sculptural endeavor that is sort of 2.5D, that is soft edges in forms and sometimes hard edges in forms. And then other times you're dealing with paving, which can be whole fields of thousands of pavers that maybe try to follow a certain logic, but then you have to figure out how to document that so that it can be constructed. And then finally there's planting, which is so complicated. Plants have so many needs and require so much consideration of what the existing site conditions are. And often those things are, not necessarily ignored, but sometimes missed because of the complexity of that problem. And we're trying to help solve that as well. Like, what better way than to use data and computation to solve a problem that has a lot of parameters? So those have been what LandKit is mostly. And we're adding some new focus areas for LandKit in the new version, which is another big new thing that we'll be talking about, LandKit 2.0, and some of the features, and I'll preview some of that in this video series. But the two big aspects are areas, which we've started using in the topo tools for collaging and defining your site. We're adding some great features for areas, and also a different kind of areas are currently used for planting and paving. And I thought it was strange that we had all these different area types. And so I'm unifying those area types so that they can flow more nicely from one to the other. And we'll be talking about that plenty, because that's a big thing on my mind right now. And then the other thing is to sort of think about the work that we started to do with water and planting using environments. Now, environments are a way of gathering different layers of analysis into one package. And that package of layers can be used to do things like place plants. That was the original idea. And then secondarily, to combine those layers in ways that can give us other results, like water runoff, or being able to calculate between things, which is going to be a new feature, and create new layers that are synthesized versions of those other layers. And also some really amazing features for going from environments into areas, or areas into environments. And we're going to be talking about all of that. It's really neat and exciting, and I think there's so much creative potential beyond the efficiencies that we're trying to create. There's also some really amazing possibilities for designing with data and with computation. I'm excited to have you guys on board for this video series, and I hope you enjoy it. Oh, by the way, that's not purple hair, that's a purple light, but I'm matching the avatar.